Hey everybody, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. There's been a lot that's gone down since we last recorded. We meant to get one out, and it ended up being the day we were gonna do it was gonna be June 30th, and we were like, "Wow, this makes no sense doing this right now because it will be out of date in 2 minutes." So we held off, and it's July 2nd at the time we're recording this, 9:28. So there's still some stuff like Ehlers hasn't been done yet. Apparently, we were supposed to get something down him today, and it hasn't came in yet. So I kind of doubt we'll get anything now.
He's overplaying his hand, dude. I think.
You know what? I kind of thought that, but then because I tweeted his new Taylor Hall 2.0, but then I looked at everyone has cap space.
And the market's
like he's like
true. I bet he's got
that's
off.
what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I don't.
See. We'll see.
I don't know. But yeah, let's start with the Leafs. I wanted to get right into it. Obviously, some big stuff that's going to happen, or that's happened already. And one of the main reasons why we didn't record on June 30th was because we didn't have a Marner trade yet.
It was out there, but
we didn't know if it was going to happen for sure yet. Like, we knew that Nick Roy would be coming back if Nick Roy would be coming back if we got the deal done. But we didn't know if we were, so we also held off on that for that reason. But yeah, I mean, we'll start there with the Marner trade. I mean, thank God, era wasted. Like I'm so happy I don't have to cheer for this guy anymore.
It's the picture of the chains.
I tweeted it, bro. The chains broken.
It's the picture of the chains broken. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm so happy I don't have to cheer for this guy anymore. He is honestly my least favorite athlete of all time, and he played for my favorite team in any sport. Like, up there for my least favorite athletes are Brad Marchand, obviously a Leaf fan, Tom Brady as a kid who grew up watching the terrible Bills get just smacked around by Tom Brady. Brady's up there. I don't know. There's probably some soccer players up there that I'm just blanking on right now. Oh yeah, Brady Tkachuk would be up there. Chara. It's
Ridley Green. I hate the Senators, man. I hate the Senators.
I hate the Sens too, but honestly, okay, yeah. I mean, listen.
Max Domi when he was at Habs was
football player. No, Stephon Diggs is Mitch Marner and Stephon Diggs are like right here for me. They're like equal. I can't stand the both of them. But anyways, I am so happy it's finally over.
This is like Pierre-Luc Dubois for me. I cannot stand Pierre-Luc Dubois because he like ended Muzzin's career.
Yeah, that was honestly. It's just we don't need to do this whole thing all over again. Where it's when did the fan base get sick of Marner? When did you get sick of Marner? We've done this about 3 or 4 times on this pod. Any of our episodes we've talked about.
I was gonna say we've been like ever since really. They got
the end
eliminated.
of the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, ever since they got eliminated, and we didn't do too many episodes, but like, I think all year too, though that's been our thing. It's like I know at least for me and Jacob, we were like, you know, if this guy goes out there and performs, I want him back. If he doesn't,
I mean, it was the same thing with me, man. Like honestly. Everything could have been forgiven if you performed properly.
At any given time, too.
Because
I don't think there's a single playoff performance in his 9-year tenure where you can say, "Oh yeah, he was nuts.
ELC maybe."
Even so,
yeah, every post contract.
Because listen, he had his moments in the first Boston series, the first couple Boston series. He had his moments. He scored a penalty shot. He blocked that shot with his face to close out Game 3 in Toronto. He had his moments, and then ever since that contract, and listen, I'm gonna end it here. We're not talking about what happened on the first term. We already talked about this all the time. I don't want to go over it again. But ever since he signed that first contract, it's been a disaster. What? You want to?
I want to.
Dude, how many times are we gonna there's nothing else we could say that we haven't said already. Like this guy, him or his representation. Whoever it is, and he has a part in his representation, fucked him over because that guy could do no wrong when he was on his ELC. And they treated that contract negotiation so horribly that they turned half the city on him. And then you don't perform in the playoffs, and then what ends up happening is you get booed off the ice against Florida, and people are happy you're gone. And obviously, I'm not speaking for the whole fan base.
Hold Mitch accountable too, though, because
ahead,
he's
Well, that's what I said. He had a part in that. Yeah. Like, it's not just his representation. You decide what your representation does for you. You're a grown man. you're not 18 years
Yeah.
old anymore, where you have people telling you what you probably should be doing, what you probably shouldn't be doing.
That is a 28-year-old man. He decides what is He decide. I was watching the SDP today, and they did a really good comparison because Sam Bennett, he's also, guess what, a Darren Ferris client, and his negotiation with Florida, it's calm, it's quiet. You hear a couple things out there, oh, he could get 10
similar
million,
tropes, eh?
But it's not regular. It's not to the Marner level though. It gets to a point where you look at it and you think,
the contract inflating numbers is regular agent stuff. Every agent does it. You have to do it.
$8 million looks like
you're
a discount for Sam Bennett, and I would not say that it is.
Yeah.
But that goes to the point of like you don't decide, like your agent doesn't do things for you. You tell your agent what to do. At the end of the day, they might give you advice on what to do, but they're not doing anything without your permission.
For sure, yeah.
Like at the end of the day, all of this shit with the media, it goes back to him, and it probably goes back to not just his agent, but his camp, everybody around him, like his dad and everything.
His
like
dad.
These are all influences
you guys
on
see,
his decisions, and I think they had a big part.
You guys see
in a
the
lot
pictures
of
Paul Marner in the Vegas dressing room? My God, he
looks miserable all the time, dude.
Man.
He looks he always looks miserable.
And Mitch, why didn't you get 13?
Dude, I honestly
like.
I kind of want to push everything that happened before to the side because I want to focus. I think there's enough with Mitch.
There's a lot
in his opening presser today that we could fill time.
Pissed me off.
And I like listen. I don't have any quotes pulled up, so we're gonna paraphrase here. But basically, he said that at the Four Nations, he was talking to Mark Stone and Shea Theodore about what it's like to live in Vegas. So you know what he said? I was just focused on playing hockey. No, you weren't. Dude. No, you weren't.
That fucker has been a Golden Knight
for a year,
2
dude.
years.
For a year, 2 years. 2 years. Yeah.
2 years. 2 years. That guy's been a Golden Knight.
And one of the biggest things that we didn't get to talk about because this just kind of came out right before the trade happened, but Elliot Friedman said that basically the Leafs had high suspicions of Vegas tampering, and they knew the league would crush the next team that just caught with it. So they basically said, hey, we'll report this, but we'll hold off if you give us the sign and trade, which was what ended up happening. Nikolai Roy comes back to Toronto. He'll fill. We'll talk about him in the offseason outlook because I think we'll talk more about the roster as a whole.
By the way, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, listen, and also I just want to say one thing. People are talking about like, oh, that's a shitty return. It was either that or nothing.
It's a great
return. I don't know. What do you
want?
Like, to do? Yeah.
You look at like the casuals on fucking the Leafs Instagram or whatever on that trade.
And those graphics don't help anything, dude. Yeah.
We got nothing for Mitch, and it's like, dude, you don't understand the sport. Like, please take 2 seconds to understand the situation. This guy literally was going to hit the market in like 24 hours, and they got a pretty. I think Nick Waugh was more than what any of us were expecting to get.
Dude, I thought we were gonna get a third-round pick. Yeah. I thought we were gonna get a third-round pick.
That's crazy.
Carolina got for
Gensel. The Leafs have been looking for a solution at 3C since Nazem Kadri left, and I think it's pretty fucking awesome that they are able to.
Well, I mean, I want to talk about that because I think they have two solutions at 3C.
Okay, we'll get to that
then. I mean, we'll get into that.
But
so let's hold off on the center conversation.
I do have a bone to pick with some Leafs fans today. I mean, this is just on Twitter, so I mean, take it or leave it, as I always say.
Take it with a grain of salt.
But like people are like, oh, I'm gonna cheer for Vegas and Toronto. Now it's like, what the hell? Like, what team do you? What team are you a fan of?
Dude,
there's people. At the end of the day, there's people who cheer for players. There's people who cheer for players and just people who cheer for teams. And like, it's like no one's telling you how to cheer for. Like, I don't know. I don't care.
I mean, I get it. You're 16 years old and your favorite player just left your team. Like, it's tough.
Dude, this isn't about.
This is like when Phil Kessel got traded for me.
This isn't like about those people that you were just mentioning, Jacob, but like the people who are still defending.
Oh my God!
There's no defending him, man.
There's no transpired this weekend, dude. The chairs and hotel rooms that are facing the bed were made for those people. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, there is something wrong with you where if you are still defending this man as a Leaf fan. Like,
he's not
you need therapy.
Anymore.
I'm sorry. Like, I can't. I just, it doesn't. There's just something in my brain that just doesn't click with this mindset of like the fans treated him terribly.
I don't get it. But
can I also say something, dude?
This is my thing too. After watching what has happened and after seeing that press conference where that guy's been, Mitch Marner's been gone for 2 years.
Yeah,
he has been gone for 2 years. I have zero sympathy for that man. I zero sympathy. He's been gone. And
I've never had any sympathy for him, dude. Like
he dug
his own grave. Like you dig your own grave.
He had multiple opportunities to go and instead acted like he was being held hostage every time he stepped in front of a microphone or something.
And listen, at the end of the day, the 2 years ago Vegas thing started with a Shea Theodore trade offer. The Leafs were like, hey, give us Theodore, and I think it was Theodore and Hague or Theodore and something else for Marner, and Vegas obviously said no, and then they tried again at the deadline this year, and it was a 3-team trade that eventually didn't end up working out, and we all know that Mitch never ended up waiving to go to Carolina, and he said that he wouldn't waive his no move for a rental spot, which I can't understand. Listen, your wife's pregnant, you don't want to be kind of all over the place for the next 3 months, especially when your child is just born, your first child's just born. I don't blame him for that, to be honest with you.
Also, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also want to quickly mention that garbage Dear Toronto thing he posted was entirely ChatGPT.
Yeah, but honestly, I think needless to say, by our attitude right now, I think my belief is that the Leafs are a better team without Mitch Marner. I mean, obviously, it doesn't look that way to the naked eye, but and they might not win the division next year in the regular season, but I think we'll see improvements once they get to the playoffs.
You want to know what a funny thing? Craig Button was losing it on trades. He's like, who's going to score in the playoffs not for the Leafs? And Mike Johnson's sitting right beside him, and he turns to him. He's like, Mitch didn't score in the playoffs either.
Yeah.
And Craig Button's
Nick Waugh has 3 less goals in the playoffs.
By the way,
than
3
Marner.
more in the past couple years.
Let's just sit on that for a second. Let's be dead ass right now. Losing Mitch Marner is just
oh my god.
It is true. I think this is the other thing too that we can get into now more about how people are worried about losing this 100-point player. And don't get me wrong, it is a hole to fill. Mitch Marner affected every facet of this team. He affected even strength. He was one of the top guys. He was pretty much the top.
He's a sensational penalty killer, dude. He's
the
one of
best penalty killer on the team. He was the best penalty killer on this team easily. Except when he flips it
in Montreal.
The penalty box. He's also
with no fans in the building.
That guy's taken defensive shifts for the Leafs this year. He was the quarterback on the power play this year, and when he's not the quarterback, he was instrumental on the power play, which was also
power play that was pretty shit in the playoffs.
You and me are on the same way.
I've been preaching for a while that Matthews and Marner don't work together all the time and need to be split up. They should not be stapled to each other.
They don't work in the playoffs, dude. They work in the regular season.
You can't play them together.
To finish my point here, the whole point and the whole criticism of the core four was that the way it was constructed was that having these 4 guys that make all this money and not being able to branch out that money to the rest of the roster to have more of those middle guys to fill out your depth more. That is a huge issue. And when you lose Marner, you're losing the 100-point scorer, but you're able to fill in that aggregate more, which not having that, that middle ground was the criticism of having the core 4. So you're losing the 100-point player, but you're going in the direction that you probably needed to go anyway. So it's
they need to break up eventually. One of the biggest problems with the core 4, in my opinion, was that you spent all that money on 2 centers and 2 wingers, and you can't do that. If you're going to spend that much money on 4 players, it needs to be a defenseman. It needs to be 3, a top
which
defenseman, 2 centers, and maybe a winger.
Maybe a goalie.
It's a little more evened out now.
Well, I mean, you could argue goaltending, just
I just think of other teams with a similar build. Tampa has, Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevsky.
But
Hedman,
Mateo, to your point, it's kind of like that now. Now there's the 2 guys making 11 mil, and then you have Riley and Nyes at 7.5 and then 7.75. Yeah. Then you get Tavares at 4.38. You get Jake McCabe at I think it's 4.5. You get you start getting into those more like $4 to $6 million
Yeah.
players.
That's
that are
very
your middle
important.
guys, and those you need those like you need depth.
Depth
And-
beats everything in the NHL, and we saw that this
Exactly.
year with Florida. And I know that's an extreme example, but if you look at it's very
they're
rare
just
that you
desperate.
see
Like-
a top heavy team win the cup. Like it just doesn't happen. Every time you look at a cup winner, one of the biggest parts of their cup win is the third line. Like if you look at Tampa's dynasty, that third line with Gord, Gaudreau, and Coleman was fantastic.
like
And also Florida, we talked about the third line now, which is I know it's a super third line, but it's Lundell, Lucierainen, and
I guess
Marchand.
that's where a lot of your
that's
scoring
the
has to end
point.
up coming from, because
Yeah.
oftentimes the first lines cancel each
Yeah.
other out.
Yeah.
Well, look
Yep.
at the play. Look at like the series against the Leafs. The best line in that series was the Lundell, Lucierainen,
It was
Marchand line.
essentially-
Like,
it
It
I
wasn't
think they
particularly
outscored.
close either.
I'm
It wasn't
pretty sure they
particularly close.
I'm pretty sure they outscored the top two lines. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, because Matthews, Clamp, Barkov, and
it's what you need,
the
right?
Kachuk line was pretty
For-
ineffective.
But yeah, I mean,
Dude.
listen, I think we're seeing them move into a direction that I think a lot of the fan base has been asking for. And listen,
think we need to
still a
go.
whole offseason, and I want to write an article on why the Leafs being quiet in free agency is a good thing. Because I honestly, I was saying this before the cameras were rolling, and I actually, you know what, I do want to say this because I want to talk about the additions they did make, and then I'll talk about why it's a good thing they're a little bit more on the quiet side. So the first trade, or the only trade really, was Matias Maccelli from Utah to Toronto. It was a conditional
I was
third
gonna
round
s-
pick. Oh, sorry, go
I
ahead,
was gonna
Jake. Oh,
say,
Seb?
do you want to start with Travis Boyd?
No, I don't want to start with Travis Boyd.
I'm
No, I
a
do
big
not.
Travis Boyd fan, but we don't need to say
returning?
anything about that.
Dude, he was good in his time here.
He was
like
broke-
that,
he was
very
broke for like 10
briefly,
games.
very briefly. Him and Michael Amadio.
Dude, there was a 10-game stretch where Travis Boyd in the bubble
Travis
was just
Boyd,
disgusting.
Travis
for the
Boyd is a
Leafs.
17 goal scorer in the NHL with the very terrible Arizona
He is,
Coyotes.
yeah, with the Arizona Coyotes.
Anyways, Matias Maccelli, also an Arizona Coyote.
Matias
Maccelli
Maccelli.
also, yeah, also.
Right.
Wow.
So yeah, listen. The conditions are on the third round pick are that if Maccelli is a 51 point scorer and the
51
Leafs
points, yeah.
and the Leafs make the playoffs, that turns into a 2029 second round pick, I believe it was.
Yep.
And honestly, I tweeted this out. I love this bet for
I'm such a-
Tree Living in the Leafs. I think that's a
I
great
love this
trade.
deal.
Maccelli is a very good passer of the puck. He had a great second season in the NHL. The first season was only 23 games that he
First-
played.
No,
So the
first 2 years. First 2 years, he was really good. Or
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I
it's
see what you're saying. I see
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're
So
saying.
like his technical rookie year was only 23 games played, so it kind of like knocked
Yeah,
like
yeah.
eliminate that a little
I'm
bit. It
pretty-
wasn't too much of a sample size.
Let
but
me double check. Let me double check that because I'm pretty sure he qualified for.
He
rookie, 'cause
shouldn't,
he was in the
because
Calder race, if I'm
23
not believe-
isn't
if I'm
enough to
believe.
be a rookie season. 25 is the minimum for a rookie
Let
season.
me
So
double check because I could have.
I have it right in front of
just
me
what
right
Seb
now.
is saying,
23,
because his
23 games.
It's 23. He might have qualified.
But anyhow,
Hold
the
on.
next season,
no,
Maybe
he was in the Calder race in the big season that he had. Where Jacob, do you
I've
have
got
the
it in front of me
numbers
right now.
you? I
Yeah,
don't
no,
have
he
them
was
actually.
fourth. He was fourth in
22,
Calder
20
voting in 20.
okay, well that's not the season we're talking about then.
Yep.
That's the season he played 64
Yeah,
games.
yeah, no.
had
I think
49 points.
23 is the cut. I think if you play more than
I believe it's
23
25
then
games.
you're exempt.
But anyways,
or it might be 25. Yeah, but he
anyways.
qualified for rookie, the rookie race next year. First all rookie team
anyways,
too.
the 2022-23 season, he played 64 games, 49 points, and then the next season, 23-24, 82 games, 57 points, had 17 goals, and then last season took a smaller role in Utah, kind of got buried in the lineup, only played 55 games, 18 points.
Yeah.
But I think
Right,
there's
so
I think there's a spot here in Toronto's lineup where he could play pretty much anywhere in the
For
top
sh-
six.
for
I
sure.
mean, you have a
For
big
sure.
Mitch Marner-sized hole on the top line that I think he could fill. I mean, I don't think perfectly, but pretty nicely. Even we don't know what they're going to do to fill out the top six yet, but maybe even on a William Nylander line. I don't know. There's lots of options. He's a nasty player that has a lot of upside. So
Yeah,
he
he is on the smaller side, which kind of surprised me when they traded for him. I didn't really think that would be a guy that Tree or Berube really wanted, but I do like the bet. I think it's a really low risk bet for a potentially high reward player here. He's very talented.
I
We'll
love
see
this
what he
player,
brings.
man.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I honestly I'm excited for him. I liked him a lot in that rookie year when he was fourth in college voting. I think Seb said.
If anyone out there
he
listening,
has-
if you haven't gone and watched Matthias Maccelli highlights, go and do it. You will be
He's
so
so gross,
They're
dude. Like,
disgusting, dude.
he's got insane skill. His vision is amazing. Like he
Yeah.
really is. In
Very
terms
very
of
good
just
passer of the
passing,
puck.
in terms of passing talent, he's really up there. He
Fourth
is
round
gonna
pick.
be paired really well. Dude, he's gonna pair so well with either
Italian
Matthews
last
or
name too.
whoever.
That matters to me.
Italian descent.
Italian
I think the
last
other
name that matters.
the other part that we're forgetting about this too, the other couple parts is it's not just in terms of the play. Like this guy has 60-point upside.
I just gonna
for
butt in
sure.
real quick. Brent Burns to send a 1-year contract with the Colorado
Oh.
Avalanche.
I forgot he was a UFA.
Okay, yeah. I thought he was staying in
same.
Carolina. Not gonna lie.
The AAV
Anyways.
has not been released yet, but we'll talk about that later. If
Yeah.
it's,
Interesting. Yeah. But no, with Maccelli, he's only 24 years old as well. Like this is a guy that can project to be a part of your team.
and
for
he's
a
an
while.
RFA next year. He's an
Yes,
RFA
RFA next year, and this year he's only making $3.4 million, and
which is not
like,
a lot of
even-
money when you don't have all this cap tied up
11
in
mil.
4 guys. Yeah,
But what I'm trying to say here is like, if the conditions all hit on this deal, right, or if the conditions hit on this deal,
he ends up
it's
being
still
worth
an
a
amazing
second-round pick.
dude. That's what I'm saying. It's an
Yeah.
amazing deal. You're getting a 24-year-old 50-point scorer, which is under team control next
Yeah.
year as an RFA for a second-round pick
Yep.
in like I don't know 2029. That's 4 years
Yeah,
from now.
very good value.
Like that is an amazing deal. I think I don't know, like he's not the most physical player, so we'll see how that goes down. I guess with like the fan base, but I think people are gonna love this guy at this money. Like his skill is undeniable. This really improves the depth, and like that money leaves still. They still have like $5 million to go out and get another.
I
top
believe it's
six
6
guy.
million right now.
Plus David Camp,
5.78.
Kelly Arncroke.
Right
5.78 or something like that.
Right now it's at 4.9. I got
Is that 4.9?
I
Oh,
got
the
Puck PD up
Pizzetta
right
deal.
now.
The Pizzetta deal. I forgot about that. Yeah.
deal. I think they might have a couple. Oh yeah, there's still guys that they'll probably move off. That's with the Lorentz deal as well kicking in.
Right.
But
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's.
that's also sorry with Reeves still up on the NHL roster as well.
So yeah. Listen. I mean. I think Seb said everything there is to say about it. It's
Dude,
a
I
really
love
good
this.
bet.
I'm getting a Maccelli jersey if he like does so.
He's Italian, I'm getting a
It's,
jersey.
it's
love-
not the 63 we
I
wanted
love this
on
player, man.
this.
Okay.
It's the 63 I wanted.
It's the Italian
Dude,
I wanted.
This is a great bet, dude. Like, yeah, he got buried. Utah is really moving in this weird direction where they like don't want small guys anymore.
Yeah.
Like they're moving in just pure big
Well,
guy
dude, like
direction. and he got
honestly, look
buried.
at the playoffs and who wins, and it's a lot of big.
The whole
mean
league
teams.
is
It's
going
not.
that direction.
You need, but
Yeah.
the thing is, you need guys like this too, though.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
I think it's just they have their skill guys now, and
Yeah.
Maccelli
Well, you
just
still
kind
have
of
Keller
got
there.
it.
You have all
There-
those guys there, right? Like you
There,
don't
there is a
need more of
definitive
that.
Yeah.
fit on this.
Plus, I mean,
Leafs
they
team,
add
I think.
Paterka. Like, there's really no room. McKelly's a top 6 player. There's no
Yeah.
room for him
They
there
added
anymore. It
Paterka,
makes
yeah,
sense.
Like
Yeah, he doesn't play a bottom 6 game, which I find
it's fine. Like
it's fine. I just think I wonder what happens if he doesn't gel. Like, what do you do with that player? Because then you're in another situation where it was like a pure ankle.
He's on an
where it's
expiring
like,
contract.
You can't play a bottom 6 role,
I-
right? Which
my
is
thing-
why it's a low risk bet. And I don't.
Exactly.
I'm not. I love the deal. I don't
Like
really
they do with
care.
him.
You bet on the
Yeah,
talent, see what happens.
Honestly,
you
Mateo,
know?
I think you
My
do
thing-
what
my
with
thing-
him what you did with Nick Robertson this year. Like,
maybe.
Yeah.
I think, but my thing with Maccelli is that like he's proved it in that top 6 role. Like,
I agree.
very
I'm
recently. Like,
excited
he-
for it. Yeah.
This guy easily, I think, on this team could probably have like 65.
right? He hasn't
upside.
played on the wing of a player as talented
Um,
as Austin
and-
Matthews or William Nylander. I mean, you could say what you want about.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He
mean,
definitely
right-
has. I think,
Right
higher
now,
upside.
right now, Willie is probably on the first line. I don't know. I will see. Listen, it's too early to project lines. I think at this point, just because, like, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, I think Chris Johnson said today on TSN that this roster is definitely not the roster that they're going to
Hell
camp
no.
with. So, like, we're obviously going to see some.
Yeah,
some sort of
there's gonna
movement
be
here.
another move for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've kind of said everything there's to say about Maccelli. A really good deal for cheerleading. These are the type of bets you need to take on when a
We were
free agent
talking
market's
about
this
this.
thin. Like the free agent market is so terrible right now in terms of talent available that when you have
Yeah.
opportunities like this, you kind of need to just try and see what happens. And yeah.
It's not just that though too. It's the fact that they don't really have the assets. Like we
Yeah.
talked about this I think on our last show. Like they don't have the assets to go out and
Yeah.
make like that JJ Paterka trade or a
Yeah.
Marco Rossi trade. Like they got to find the more bargain deals like
Or
this. But
just
I
call
think
Kevin
Mitchell's one of
Adams
the
and
best-
see, because I don't think he really
or
knows
Barry
what he's doing.
Trotz, or Barry Trotz.
Barry Trotz and Kevin Adams, just call them up and see what happens.
It's bottom 2 GMs in the NHL right now. I'm not
All the
kidding.
Canes fans are celebrating right now
So
that Brent
ass.
Burns is gone. Is he that bad?
I didn't think he was that bad.
he was
I
still
thought, yeah, I
good.
thought he was doing pretty good.
He's still pretty like I mean for his role, he's still that's crazy.
Oh,
Wow. These guys get Keandre Miller and like think
Wow.
they can move
okay.
like that.
Next deal. This is a small one, but I was really happy it got done. 3 years, 1.3 million, I believe it was for Steven Lorentz.
Steven Lorentz. Dude,
I think Leafs Nation just loves this guy. He loves being a Leaf,
Dude,
obviously from the GTA.
I don't care. I don't
Played
care
alright,
about his,
like-
I don't care about his performance in the playoffs. I watched that press conference after he signed the deal, and like I don't think there is a player on this roster.
His performance
besides
wasn't even
maybe-
that bad,
it was
dude. Like I
fine.
don't know.
It was the
he
fourth line left wing, right? Like it was
Yeah.
okay, but like I think maybe besides like JT, I don't think there's a player who like wants to be a Leaf more.
And that's
than
something
Steven
that the
Lorentz.
Leafs
Like,
have been
Pizzetta's
starved
right there.
of for so long.
dude, Steven Lorentz looks
well,
happier
Nyes is
to
there
be a
too,
Leaf.
man. Nyes was thrilled
Absolutely.
that he like.
Oh my god, yeah. But like I'm saying, like Steven Lorentz looks happier to be a Leaf than he did winning the cup. Like
That's a
it's
good point.
like it's genuinely insane. Like this dude is such like a Leaf fan at heart. Like I think he mentioned like Kyle Wellwood last year in an interview, and it's like wow, you
Yeah, he
know
did.
ball.
He did.
Like,
Yeah,
you know
he's
ball.
playing
like,
niche Leaf players from the mid 2000s. Like,
like
He just
you
goes up
know
to the press
ball,
conference
dude.
and
Like I
just goes,
love this
just
guy.
goes leaf for leaf with the reporters. Daniel Winnick.
yeah,
No, like I. Frankie
yeah.
Corrado.
So I listen. There's not much of an
13.
analysis on this. He was a pretty solid fourth liner. Scored what 10 goals was it last year?
I think he had
us?
8, but like 5 of them
think
were
he had
game
more than
winners.
Right,
Like, this
right.
dude oozes passion. Just oozes passion, man.
Yeah.
Like I fucking love this player.
So happy with that. There's not much more to say, so I want to move on to the offseason outlook because there's a lot going on here. And I just want to pull up a quote from Tree Living because I think Jacob was about to talk about it earlier. And it was the center position because there was a report that came out, and I think it doesn't even need to be a report. You just look at how the contract negotiations went, and you could see the Leafs don't value JT as a 2C anymore, which I think is fair. I think he could play there during the regular season, which is fine. Like it's not a big deal if he does play there, but I think once he gets to the playoffs, you kind of want him a little bit further down the lineup or out on the wing. Sorry, I'm kind of tripping right now trying to find these replies. Oh, here it is. Sorry. This was in Jonas Siedel's article this morning. This was about Tree Living on the 2C. I know everybody wants to talk about set line centers. He said they're probably, by my count, 27 teams that are looking for them, and so the ones that have them aren't giving them out. But obviously, the top part of our lineup, the top splits of our lineup, is the area that we're focused on right now. And that was a quote, and I think that's Tree Living pretty much saying like, hey, like just it doesn't take any like a Einstein to figure out that there's not a lot of set line centers available on the market.
Yeah. At
they're
least
hard to
at least solidified.
Yeah, like listen, I think for me, this is where we just start talking about Nikolai Watt too. I know we kind of glossed over the fact that the Leafs got him a little bit, but he fills that third line center role perfectly.
yeah.
So when that happened, when that trade went through, I was a little bit confused that like all the reporting and again the way the contract went down with JT, where you get him at 4.3, that's not a third line center salary, especially with the salary cap going up. So I was just kind of wondering like, oh, I wonder what's going on there with their plans. And obviously, even after the Maccelli trade, and we said that he could fill a top six role, they're still looking to fill another top six role. Which I mean, I agree with. Like, you still look at this roster, it's still not the top end of the roster. Still isn't great. Like you obviously you have your Matthews, you have your Willie, you have
one more
JT.
guy.
They are,
Like,
and I think it's up the middle.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, either way, you play JT on the wing or you play him at third line center, you're doing fine either way. Because Nikolai Waugh is a very good third line center.
What I was gonna say was Vegas this year primarily ran Nicholas Waugh at right wing, I believe it was, because
Yeah.
they had Eichel, Hurdle, and Carlson all at the center position. He's a
Which is
very good
insane center
winger.
depth.
Crazy.
The thing is, though, the difference between like him and a guy like Scott Lawton was that Nicholas Waugh can play center, and he
Yeah.
has proven he's very good there.
So he
Scott
just
Lawton
threw
has
Laud in
always
there
been,
for up the trade value.
yeah, I mean, Scott Lawton's played center in the past, but he's always played better at wing.
Yeah.
Nicholas Waugh is a situation where he can do both. It was just this season they played him at the wing, so they do get some versatility there. Another guy I want to talk about, because I feel like he's getting forgotten in a lot of like our off-season like thinking, is Domi. I think the Maccelli acquisition really makes his role interesting, because I really thought he was going to be the guy to play with Matthews next season, and now that they got Maccelli, that makes it a little interesting, because Maccelli's I think a better player than Domi. He'll probably get, I think, at least a rep
Berube
with
never really
Matthews.
liked playing Domi with Matthews. If you really look at it, like he never really tried that much. And
wonder
when
how
they
much-
did,
I do
it was
wonder
because
how
of the
much
center
of that was.
situation.
I
Is that what
think
you're gonna
that, and
say?
also that, and also I just wonder how much of that was like Mitch.
Mitch.
And Austin, because like we've seen it before. Like Tree Living has seen it, at least, that it works. Like with
Yeah,
Matthews,
Domi,
and Domi, and
Bertuzzi, Matthews.
they didn't really give it a fair shake. They gave it like maybe a game or two, I think it was, and even
Because they
when
had
played,
to.
and even when they played them together, it was like they didn't give them a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, the good news in
I-
all of this is that with getting Nikolai Waugh, I don't think we'll ever have to see Max Domi at center again, which just brings me
Yeah.
so much life and so much
Which
joy.
he was never a center. Like
Shouldn't be
don't
a
like
center,
stop
yeah.
playing
It was
him there. And I
ridiculous.
know they traded Lawton and Lawton struggled, and I think it just came down to the fact where it was like honestly the best lineup was Domi at center, and
Unfortunately.
that was unfortunate because I think we all knew it wasn't good enough, especially in a third line role.
Yeah.
But another thing that I think about this lineup right now, and I know it's incomplete, but there is a lot of centers on this lineup, and that's a great thing to have because it brings a lot of versatility to the lineup, and
When
it's a
there's
little
injuries,
things in the
too.
yeah, when there's injuries, but listen, people don't talk about it, and it's really niche. Like it is what it is. But like at the faceoff dot, now you have guys who can cheat at draws. Like you have guys who go out there and they're jumping because they know they have a center on their right wing that'll just step in and take the draw anyways, right? And all those draws are really important. Like faceoffs are very important, and especially in the playoffs. Like honestly, in the regular season, like sometimes I feel like whatever, but in the playoffs, they become very important. Getting that zone time, getting the puck out of your zone to the defensive zone, would be solid. And another thing about the Nicolas Waugh acquisition, if you play him at center, that takes away a lot of defensive responsibility for Matthews, because if you look at
Yes,
Matthews' offensive and
yes.
defensive zone start splits, they were pretty much equal in the playoffs. And when you
I was
have a guy
gonna
who's
mention
making when you have a guy who's making 13, was it 13 and a half now?
Can't be your shutdown center. Like
He
you
can't,
need him
no.
to be on the offensive.
Your
The
goal
thing
scorer.
with Florida that we saw this year was that when Barkov was getting shut down by Matthews in those first two games, they had the depth and the trust in their third line to start pushing that line against the Matthews line
Yeah.
to open up the Barkov line more for offense, and they started scoring more after they did that. You need to be able to do that, and you need to have a line that you can trust to do that as like kind of your more bona fide shutdown line.
Yep.
And that line can involve Matthews because his talent just
He needs to score, man.
you need him to be scoring, like, and if he's putting in work in the defensive zone for the first half of his shift, that guy's not going to have the energy and the extra 30 seconds he has in the offensive zone to go and like make a chance or something. Like they'll get tired out, right? That's just how it goes. They're not superhumans at the end of the day, so you need to
Yeah.
open them up for offense more for sure.
Yeah, and I think just staying back to the center thing too, I think it's another big plus on the penalty kill, because you have, for the longest time, the Leafs never had a true penalty killing center, and if you remember, like
Yeah.
Hyman took draws for them, and
Like
that
Camp.
and it was Camp is a center and he's a penalty killer, but you have them all throughout the lineup now. You have Lawton, sorry. You have Lawton. I know we said he's not really a center, but he can't play there. But you have Waugh now. You have Matthews played penalty kill center last year. Now I'm blanking that I have to list them all, but I was looking at the lineup and there's a lot of options there. So I think that's a really, really solid part of this lineup now that wasn't really there before, because you were really kind of handcuffed to the center position. even last year you were. So I do like the direction that they're moving in. There's a lot of versatility in this lineup, I think, with where guys could play. And they're not done. I think one of the guys that I've seen floating around is, I mean, it's until the end of time, Nas coming back home, which I wanted to see what you guys thought. Because
honestly,
like,
I like it. I
Dude,
think it's one of the.
I would love Nas, but
Sorry, go ahead, Sip.
I would love Nas. I'm really just not convinced that Calgary is ever going to make a trade with Tree Living as our general man. I'm really not convinced unless we give up like a king's ransom to get him.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't even have
all
to
that
give up.
aside,
I think
like I think it is in terms of hockey, it's a viable option. Like I really like that.
I think it's a great
Yeah,
option,
like I mean,
dude.
like Tree Living said, there's 27 teams looking for a second line center. I think Nazem Kadri slots in there almost perfectly, and you have a line that's Tavares, Kadri, Nylander. That's kind of nails, bro. I don't know.
It might not be the best long-term move, but
You gotta win a
I
cup
mean, at
now.
least for the next maybe 1 or 2 like at least for the next 1 or 2 seasons, like
he's on year
he'll
4-7
still be good,
of a deal where he has an AAV of $7 million, and obviously
I'm
with
not
that
even,
cap going
I'm
up,
not
it's
even,
like
like I'm not even that concerned with that deal now at this point, especially with losing Marner. Like I'm really not. That's
Once
fine.
you kick,
I mean, I think
he
can
plays a
fit that
Berube
in.
style
for sure.
too.
Once you kick,
Yeah,
Camp
like,
and Yarncrook out
it
the
would
door,
be a
that's
great fit.
that's no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would be a
that's another
great
thing
fit. I'm just not moved on Calgary ever
Okay.
making a deal with the Leafs of that.
Another
magnitude.
top,
fair.
another top six option. Another top six option that I was looking at, and he's not a center, but I'm thinking if they end up just sticking with JT at second line center, why don't you go back with Bertuzzi, go to Chicago, and see if they're willing to
That was
move
my
him?
other name.
Because I think that line, that I think he'd be perfect. I think you feel. Listen, this team is thin on the wing still. And I think Bertuzzi fills a top six role. We've seen him work with Matthews. He's a shithead to play against. I feel like Berube would love a guy like that. We were talking about the Berube style hockey, and you don't bring in a guy like Maccelli. Listen, I love Maccelli, but he doesn't really play that same style. And honestly, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine when you don't. Like, you can have 1 or 2 guys who don't play that
You
same
don't need
exact
every guy
style.
to be
But
the
I
same
think
player.
Yeah, I think Bertuzzi would be very good in top six role here. I think we've seen it before. Where listen, he had a really slow start when he got here, but he played well after that.
I like him. He's got 3 more years at 5.5 million. He's coming off of actually
5.5.
5.5. Sorry, yeah. No, that's what I said, isn't it? He's got he had 46 points, 23 goals with Chicago last year. Not bad. I'd take him.
I agree. Like I think he would be a great fit, and I love the player. This is another situation though where it's just like I'm not convinced Chicago is gonna move off of him, because I think they have a very serious situation with Connor Bedard here, where he's heading into the final year of his ELC. They need to start proving to this guy that they're gonna compete soon, and I think if they start moving off.
Okay,
These
let's
guys
hold
for
the
the
Chicago
same,
talk, because I do want to talk about it. I do want to talk about them and I have them in the league talk.
My
Actually, you know what? Go in on Chicago. Go on in Chicago, because I have put them at the very bottom.
Because I was gonna say, like, I am really not convinced they're gonna move.
Dude, they do
off of
nothing.
any of their-
They do nothing.
They did nothing, and I think they should have been on and really in on a guy like Jonathan Duran. I think that would have been perfect.
Even if you
would
go
have
out and
been,
get
like, a perfect
Ehlers,
fit with
dude,
Bedard.
like just get
Ehlers,
someone
like I need to get anybody, right? Like I think they really need to start. You know,
and all the reporting is that
they
they're
need
not
to- they
doing
need to-
anything. Like this.
Hey,
is
hey,
they need to
Come
start.
on, they
getting
got Sam
in on-
Lafferty and Andre Burakovsky. That really moves the needle.
This is true. I mean,
You know who
but
else
yeah,
would
no,
be great to shelter Bedard? David Camp.
Morgan
Kampf.
Riley.
David Camp. Okay.
throw Riley at center.
Yeah.
Just see how it goes.
Yeah.
No, but like they need to start, I think, showing to Bedard that like they're serious about getting better.
Yeah.
And I just don't think trading Bertuzzi for more prospects.
That's
does
a
that for
Don
them.
Cherry ass suggestion.
But
man,
don't get
to
me
put
wrong,
Riley
like
on forward.
I would love that player.
Yeah.
Riley.
Well,
I
listen,
would love
yeah, that'd be
Bertuzzi
great.
back. Like
the
it
reason
would
why I
be a
brought up
good fit.
Bertuzzi is because they were talking about him like a potential bio candidate. Like that's
Yeah.
what the reporting was around Bertuzzi near the end of last year, and I was like, oh, or in the middle of last year, I was like, if he gets bought out, like the Leafs should be all over that. Like
I
you
have an
cannot
interesting name.
let him go to another
and-
team.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me?
Mateo?
He's dead.
Is Mateo alright? He's dead for us. He's probably fine on the
For
recording.
hello?
I was gonna say I have an interesting name,
Okay.
that is a name we crashed out about
Is it
before.
Brayden Schenn?
I
don't.
wonder now that because they signed Puis Suter, like I do really wonder where they view themselves if they want
Yeah.
to keep Shen or if the price maybe comes down because I think the price was super
I mean, yeah,
high.
that's the reason we crashed out about him is because they were asking what 3 first-round picks for him.
It was because the price was insane. Like we talked about it after. Like honestly, the fit would have been really
He's
good,
got
but it was the price for him. Like 2 first-round picks for a 33-year-old with like 3 more years on a bad contract. Like it makes no sense. But I think they were really just trying to gauge the market on him and just test the waters. I do wonder now that they signed Puis Suter if that's a move they would consider making or if they want to roll with this. Because they're all in on these weird rumors. Like I really don't know where St. Louis is at. They're very unpredictable. Like they've been talking about moving off of Kyrie.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about because I
there's been
think
some rumors about that. Like
I did not like the Bolduc move for them. Like
yeah, that was a
I
pretty
think it
bad
makes
move.
sense.
Like Roldick was
Yeah,
pretty
like,
good for them
and
last
truthfully,
year.
I think they are pretty deep at forward, so they could afford to lose him, but I think
Yeah.
they could have got more than just Mayu 1-for-1. I don't love that.
Yeah, and then like they just threw Letty on
Yeah.
waivers today. It seems like something's up with there, going on with that. Yeah, I really do just wonder. Just looking at their lineup now, I don't know if they would, but they also signed Nick Bukestad. Like, it seems like they were really insulating the center position this year, and I'm wondering if it's because they want to see what they can get for maybe Brayden Schenn this offseason. It would be an interesting name. Ended off the year really hot. I think he had like 50 points
Yeah,
this season.
yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't know. He'd probably be like a lower end 2C, but I think that is okay when you have if they do Matthews, Shen, Tavares. I think that's a pretty good center depth, and I think at that point you're almost running like 2 low end 2Cs.
I think
instead of having your second line center and your third
I think
line
you put
center.
Tavares at wing at that point, then you
I don't
have Wah as the 3C. But I mean, like you said, you
You
have
could
tons
do
of
that
options, it
too. I
doesn't really
mean,
matter.
there's a lot of options. There's a ton of options there. I do think Brayden Schenn again though would be probably maybe like on the lower end of that kind of 2C
For
conversation.
sure, but when you have the depth there, and
But,
it doesn't
I
matter.
mean-
Like, oh, do you have a good 2C? Do you have a good 3C?
Yeah.
Do you have 2 good lines in your
It
middle?
doesn't really
six?
matter, right? Like you have the depth. Yeah, exactly. I think people put too much emphasis on the line number. and where
I
it's
think of
at,
that
but
specifically with Florida. Like, was the Lundell line 2 or line 3? Like, does it matter?
at points that was their first
Yeah,
line,
exactly.
right? Like it changes, but yeah, I don't know. I think Shen would be an interesting name. That's the only name I can really think of right now besides him and like Nas. Besides that, you're really starting to get into these like maybe younger guys that could be like a breakout. Like I'm thinking, I don't know if Utah would move off of him, but like a guy like Barrett Hayton could be interesting.
Yeah, Nick Schmaltz
There's,
also
like-
in Utah.
there's,
I
like-
brought him up last episode, I think.
Nick Schmaltz could be maybe. There's another Casey Middlestat in
No.
Boston is like.
I mean, Pia Suter was another guy.
He's like been. He would have been okay. Honestly, that contract was solid
hate
too. Maybe he just didn't. I don't know if the Leafs ran
I
on
doubt
that,
it.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm the center talk's a little interesting this year. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think the more this year goes on or this offseason goes on, I think they're gonna roll with Tavares at 2C for the next season. Is it the best option? I don't know. In the regular season, he could definitely still do it. When the playoffs came around, especially against Florida, he really
Yeah,
faltered.
and everything
so,
changes when you get close to the trade
I don't
deadline
know.
too.
yeah, like you never know who might be available. This free agent class looks crazy. So
Yeah, I'm actually just pulling it up right
there's
now.
probably gonna be a couple guys on that free agent list who are deadline options,
Connor
right?
McDavid.
If they don't extend. So yeah, maybe the Oilers move off of him because they like didn't really get better this year.
No, they did not.
I was really up. I'm so disappointed in their
Yeah, it's bad.
offseason
I know
right now or just
Yeah,
so far.
Mateo's got them on the outline. I don't know
What's
what's
going
on.
on, man?
He just said, "I hate."
He said he hates this effing Wi-Fi.
Yeah. We can go.
All right, we're just gonna have
Yeah,
to
I think
carry the show
we've kind
here for a
of
bit.
gone all over the Leafs offseason. Obviously, we have to
Yeah, I don't know what else they can do. There's like some Carlo talk, but I think it'd be dumb
I
to
hate
move
that
off of
decision.
him.
Why would you move? Why
I
would you move
hate that.
Carlo?
Yeah, that makes no
Like,
sense, dude. Like you finally get like a sick, you get like a sick. We talked about. I think was it you and me or was it me and Mateo when we did a show where we were talking about like Luke Shen.
I don't remember.
I can't remember now, but I was basically saying that Carlo was just like a younger, better Luke
Yeah, I
Shen.
can see that.
And I think this is a great fit, especially with Riley. I think they just have to let him settle in. Like that guy spent what 10 years with Boston. Like it's not easy to spend that much time with one organization.
No, yeah,
and
and
then just get
look,
traded,
it
right?
was
Like,
the same situation with Jake McCabe, who didn't look so great after the deadline in the
Yeah, Jake
playoffs.
McCabe. You mentioned
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, Jake McCabe. Like,
No, it's like I think the reasoning behind trading Carlo is the same behind trading one of the goalies. Is that there's not a huge market for right-handed defensemen.
It'd be
Selling
selling
high.
high.
Right-handed defenseman who's on a great contract, and I think you'd have to get a fucking haul for him, which you won't, because he's
move
not.
off. You got to get like a Braden Shen type of haul for that
Yeah,
guy.
because
to
he's
move
like,
off of him.
yeah.
Like you got to make some. You got to make like who's a team that needs a right-handed defenseman right now? Like
every team.
I'm
New
trying to
York.
think right now. Like you
gotta
got to
get
make.
that Keandre Miller haul.
You gotta make like some New York Rangers podcast, post a clip of them just crashing out about like they want 2 fucking firsts for Brandon Carlo. Are you kidding me? Like you gotta
God.
get to that level of price, right?
Oilers.
Yeah.
The thing is, okay, who
McDavid
plays
for
for the
Carlo?
Oilers right now? I know the Oilers are farther down on the outline, but I'm going on their daily face-off. Who the fuck
Oh my
plays for them?
god. Ty Emberson.
Up front. Okay,
still
they
have
don't look as bad up
Bouchard.
front as I thought. Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Mangiapane, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Frederick, Henrique, Savoy. Jeez.
They're just not good, man. I'm sorry. Like Vasily Podkolzin, that's just their Pontus Holmberg.
Podkolzin's better than Holmberg. He can actually
maybe
put
a
the
little
puck in the
bit,
net.
Kind of. A little
Okay,
bit.
Podkolzin
Like,
has
I mean, I
Podkolzin was
guess.
what, a top 10 pick. He has flashes of being gross, but are we both looking up his
He was
hockey?
top 10 pick like 6 years ago, man. He had 24 points this year in 82 games. That's I think that's comparable
That's like
to
double
what
what
Holmberg
Holmberg.
had. Yeah, but Holmberg played less games. I
Probably,
think,
yeah.
no? Yo, I'm actually curious about this. Wait, hold on. Okay, Holmberg played 68 games. He had 1 less goal than Podkolzin.
Oh, you know.
So Holmberg actually scored at a better rate
That's
than
crazy.
Podkolzin in terms of goals
And
scored.
Podkolzin was on Draisaitl's wing for a lot of the
So,
year.
Yeah,
Holmberg has 7
how about
goals?
that?
How? Well, I guess 5 of them were on the empty net.
He's gross. He's gross.
I can't believe he played. He played almost every game in the playoffs. Yeah, he played 12
Holmberg, yeah,
games.
because Nick Robertson decided to just die. We're getting so
Yeah,
off track
okay,
here. We need Mateo.
let's,
Dude, so bad.
I bet he's trying to.
Do we want to move on?
Let's
to
get on to the
Rasmus
Rasmus Anderson situation. There's been a lot of smoke around that. A lot of people. There was a lot of talk about him getting traded at the draft. I believe the reports were just.
to Vegas?
Vegas, really?
Or at
At
the
the,
draft?
it was like around then. It might get done that time, but I think Calgary just didn't get what they wanted in terms of
We
offers.
definitely need Mateo, bro. He factors.
Yeah,
this
like
shit. Do we want to pause for a second?
yeah. All right, Jacob.
Okay.
We're back.
So on the Rasmus Anderson situation, that we're gonna move on to that. And that was one of the bigger stories. I mean, listen, free agency is always a lot about the signings and who's available, who all the contracts. But one of the biggest stories around free agency was Rasmus Anderson, and I think it's a lot of because of what we've seen with the packages being dealt for different players. Anderson obviously has been, he's been a top 4 defenseman in Calgary. I think he's probably in a little bit too high of a role for what he is actually capable of doing. Honestly, if you play him on a second pair anywhere, I think he'd be a very, very, very good option. Like he's a high-end top 4 defenseman.
There's a bit of a misconception with him, I think, where people think he's like a defensive guy. He's an offensive defenseman. He's not very good defensively. you can associate some of that with possibly his role, but I was looking into this a little while ago, because he was like a bit of an option, I think, for the Leafs, or like one of the names people were mentioning, and he never really gets the toughest defensive minutes. He gets a lot of offensive zone starts. He's kind of just not good defensively, and it's been like that for years. It's not just like a Calgary being bad thing. You got to know what you're getting with him. He's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and just because he shoots right, there
but
should be 32 teams, including the Calgary
there's
Flames,
a market
that are interested in him.
Yeah. So anyways, the situation there with him, it's actually, it's kind of surprising, because I don't know if surprising is the right word, but like reading it, listen, you always know this happens, but basically Anderson is pretty much said, I am not signing an extension anywhere but Vegas. And that pretty much limits the market down to one team.
Yeah, you don't really help anybody by doing that.
No. But the interesting thing was that Conroy said that he hasn't given permission to any teams to talk to Anderson about an extension. So, like, at the same time, like, shouldn't you just let him talk? Like, even if he won't, like, maybe he changes his mind if he talks to another GM.
I actually don't really know why they're willing to like move off. Like from all accounts, like he wants to be a Flame. Like, this is one of the only guys in recent years who really, and I understand the market this year for defensemen is a lot, but I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, like, you do have to keep guys too, and I don't know if Rasmus Anderson is necessarily a guy they have to move off of, especially if this is what the market's going to be for him, where it's one team and they're just going to like squeeze like a shit trade out of you. Like, I don't think they should do it.
We're going to talk about the Condrey. We're going to talk about the Condrey Miller deal in a minute here, or in a bit. But if you look at what defensemen are getting right now on the open market, like they're expensive, man. Like, a lot of even look at Michael Kesselring. He's like one of the two pieces in a JJ Peterka deal.
We never talked about that.
Right, we probably should. Fuck, I'm just so jaded on Buffalo. Like, I don't want to talk about the Sabres again.
I've said this so many times. We could do an entire show on Buffalo.
On the Sabres. Yeah. Dude, Kevin, what is happening in Buffalo right now is just honestly, I might slide them in like right underneath the Rangers in our outline. I'm going to push Anaheim down. We're talking about Buffalo, because just saying the name Buffalo Sabres, I just thought of a bunch of shit that happened today in the past couple of days.
Ears. Buffalo Sabres.
God, dude. But anyways, I think that the reason why they're doing it is because I think they're just, the price you're going to get for him is going to be crazy. And the Flames are in a kind of a weird transition phase right now, where they almost made the playoffs last year, but I'm going to be the mature one of the two here. Or of the three, sorry. Well, these two lose it. But they're in a weird position where they just barely missed the playoffs last year. But if you look at they had some a crazy number of OT losses, and that when you have a team who loses a lot in overtime, it tends to balance out, and it usually ends in regulation losses and not overtime wins at the end of the day. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Flames kind of drop back. And I mean, Dustin Wolf was so good for them last year that I wouldn't be surprised if this front office, this team, they're like, you know what? I don't think we're that good. So maybe you go and you get a big haul for Rasmus Anderson and you use those draft picks, or you trade them for another player. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone looks at draft picks when they're acquired, and they're like, oh, like, okay, you're gonna draft a prospect with that. Like, no, maybe you could use that to go out there and grab another player.
Well, I think my issue now with making that move is that he's limited the market pretty much to just Vegas, because not a lot of teams are gonna give up a lot for a rental. And now that Vegas is like the only, at least if there was like a couple teams in there, Calgary could try and initiate some sort of like bidding war for the guy, because I'm sure for, like, again, a right-handed defenseman who's capable of 50 points, I'm sure there'd be a lineup for him. But you limit the market to one team that you're going to sign an extension to, and it's like, all right, well, if you're that team, Vegas in this case, like,
they have no
dude,
leverage. His deal's expiring. Like, if you guys just don't give it to us now, like, we'll get him next year.
I'm going to give you like a shitty prospect and maybe like a second, maybe a first. Like, If I'm Calgary, I'm not taking that for Anderson. Like the fuck.
Hell no.
No, it's not worth it.
No.
Like you honestly you might as well just hold out until the deadline comes around and then when
Yeah,
people are in the
see
market for
then.
rentals.
'Cause you,
Like that's what that's
you
what
can
you're looking
squeeze
at.
a big trade there at the deadline if you want. Like,
Yeah. Which at this point I think is probably what will happen. Like I don't think we'll see a Rasmus Anderson deal at all anytime soon
Yeah.
because like with this whole thing with Conroy saying that he hasn't allowed other teams to talk to him about an extension. And then he also said, but Anderson's pretty much told me he's honed or has pretty much honed in on one team to make that extension, or that he wants to have the extension with. And he didn't say who, but I mean, just based off the reporting and everything, it is Vegas. And I think Elliot Friedman or Chris Johnson, one of the two, said that they were in talks for a Rasmus Anderson deal, and they just couldn't get it over the line. So it wouldn't be surprising if they maybe at the deadline to circle back and say, hey, like, is there anything that we could do here? Or honestly, like I said, you wait till the deadline and the market opens up because people are in the market for rentals at the deadline. Like that's just how it works in the NHL. So, I mean, there's not much more to say on that situation. I just think that it was kind of interesting to see a big name player here in Calgary that might get moved in. We like with the player moving, and I thought it was also relevant because the free agent market is so terrible, and then we've already talked about that.
Yeah.
That like honestly,
worst,
the
like-
free agent market being Dude, I sat there on July 1st watching TSN. I'm like, oh my
Christian
god, like, these
Dvorak
names
was
are
a
just
top
shocking.
3 center available.
Gavrikov was the best player on the market once Mitch signed. Like that's crazy.
I don't know. I'd
I
say
don't-
Besser or Ehlers, but like we didn't mention we
Well, I was just in the board. Oh,
we
Besser,
didn't
the
mention
Besser
Besser
deal.
here. We don't have Besser here either. That deal is dude, so dramatic.
I know.
Like I'm not
Also,
even
Burns. Sorry. I
yeah.
mentioned the Brent Burns deal earlier. It's Elliot Friedman says it's a $1 million base salary and games played bonuses to get him to another $3 million.
so
So
four mil?
pretty cheap. On bonuses, it could end up being no. I think it's $3 million total with the bonuses. So I think it's another $2 million on unless I read that wrong. I
The
might be
35
four,
plus
but,
contract are so scuffed.
I don't think it is.
It's so
Yo, there's
funny.
a lot of them this
They
year.
are.
There's a
That's crazy.
lot of them with like
Yep.
a bonus.
Well, because the cap is blowing up, right? So like if you go over the cap this year, like your overage charges aren't that like you don't
It's
have
not a
to
big
eat
deal,
that
yeah.
bit of like a cap percentage, right? But just going back to Anderson, or we could wrap there on Anderson. There's not much more to say. We'll see how it plays out in the next coming weeks. I think, like I was saying with the free agent market being so shit, I think it opens up the possibility to trades happening because I think GMs are looking for ways to improve their teams and they just don't see the value in free agency, right? So
That's the Leafs.
we'll see, I think we'll see some more trades here. Well, yeah, exactly. We just
actually-
talked about Chile looking for
Yeah,
top six defense or top six
a name
forward.
we brought up, and I'm kind of surprised the Leafs weren't in on him. Was well, there was two. Suter, I was kind of surprised, I guess, after seeing the contract that the Leafs weren't like, I guess, in those rumors.
I wasn't that surprised.
I
dude.
would.
Like,
It would
I gotta
have
be
been
honest,
my
like,
pick,
it's-
but like I was kind of surprised they weren't.
I
in
mean,
on
who
it.
knows? Maybe
Another
they
name I
were,
brought
but-
up.
We just talked about how many centers they had.
another-
Dude. We just talked about how many centers we have. Like I don't think
Another-
Suter like fills a 2C
Another-
role, and I think Nikolai Roy would be better 3C.
The name I want to bring up to you because this is a name we crashed out over.
Braden Shen.
If he were to become available this offseason for a more reasonable price than 2 first-round picks.
No.
For a more reasonable price.
This guy does
no,
not
He's
Braden
really
Shen,
hot.
I think.
He had 50 points.
No,
He's a Berube guy.
He has 3
No,
more years
no,
at 6.5 million, and he's
no,
33 years old. I don't think it's a good
no,
option,
and
and it's
no.
mid. It's like you might as
Dude,
well.
he's not
we
a
were just
second
talking
line
about
center
Kadri.
either. I know. Honestly,
Kadri-
I guess you're right,
Kadri's
but like,
better.
I'm not saying
No.
it's the
It's not
best.
bad
I'm
point.
not
It's
saying
just
I'm
like-
not saying it's the best option. He'd be on the lower end of second line center discussion that we could have, but there's not a lot of names out there, and even his name isn't really out there. I'm just mentioning it because St. Louis really padded up on centers this offseason.
I hope you never compare Braden Shen to Nazem
I was just
Kadri
curious.
again.
I was just curious. What?
Never compare Shen to Kadri again.
I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying. I mean, Kadri's definitely better. Don't get me wrong. That guy had like 36 goals last season.
yeah.
But I don't know. It was just a thought. If the asking price was more reasonable, because that was the main issue we had last season. It wasn't
Yeah,
it
the
wasn't
price was
the
crazy.
player. It was
The problem
It
is
was
with
the
the Leafs
price.
last year is we thought they needed a third line center, not a second line center, right? So when you go out and you make a deal to get a third line center, Braden Shen as your third line center is a great
sure.
third line center. I wanted
That's
two
what I'm
C
saying.
now.
He'd
Like you
be-
have
he
more
would be a-
flexibility.
he
You
would-
lose Mitch. Like you need.
He would be a low end 2C, but I think if you have Tavares at your 3C, Tavares is like one of the best third line centers in the NHL. If that's the case, I think you can afford having the lower end 2C.
You know what?
That was my thought process.
Sorry to jump in here, but I honestly have a sleeper candidate.
Oh, sleeper pick.
And it would have to be, and actually, now that I think about it, it wouldn't work because this team's trying to clear cap, and they would probably have to retain heavily on him. But Tyler Seguin,
Oh.
I don't see it
Tyler
happening.
Seguin.
I think
Intriguing.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Dallas is pretty happy with their forward core right now, and like you said, they have to clear cap anyways. And I don't see how the Leafs take on that
if
deal.
it's
He's
at,
a free agent next year.
And
no?
he's in year 7 of 8, so 2 more years. He has a full no move too, so he'd have to want to waive to come to Toronto.
coming off of major
He
surgery,
did have
by the
21
way.
points
He'd wanna
in
come-
20
he-
games, although that was before
hometown
the
kid.
surgery,
He'd want to
wasn't
come
it?
to Toronto.
Who's to
He's a
say?
hometown boy.
It was before the surgery. He was fantastic before the
Yeah,
surgery, and
he
then
was
he had
really
that
good.
hip surgery that left him out. I am a little bit worried about that. Like I don't know if I would. The problem is for me, and I know. Listen, you're never gonna get a guy, and if you are, you're gonna have to pay a crazy price for it. But like a guy in his like late to mid 20s for certain lines, it's not going to be there. You have to draft
Yeah,
that guy
for
if
sure.
you want him. So there's obviously going to be flaws in
Tinas
every
Luke
single guy,
Kolar.
but I just
Sure, man.
okay. I think that's the Leafs second round pick this year. If you guys didn't know, but anyways,
Pretty good.
Robert Thomas.
there's gonna be some flaws in any kind of guy you go after, I think. But I don't see Sagan. I think honestly, if you're gonna look at a second line center, I know it's gonna be tough because Calgary hates Trilivan's guts, but Nas,
I think
number
that's the
one pick.
best.
I think
fit.
Nas is
I
like
think
that's
that's
the best fit. Yeah,
It's just
I think he'd want to come back. I don't know.
It's just gonna be another name I brought up. Was Barrett Hayton. Because like if you're not
I don't think they move him
but
though.
if you're not gonna get a guy who's established, you have to look at younger guys who might be ready to break through into that spot. And Barrett Hayton could be a guy like that. Seems to be that kind of Berube mold as well.
I was gonna say I don't want
Yeah,
another small
I
guy,
can't
but he's
think of
6'1",
much.
200 pounds, so I'm wrong.
No, Barrett Hayton's he's a
Yeah,
bigger,
I'm just flat wrong.
bigger
Yeah.
guy.
All right,
Ooh, Troy Terry.
I do want to move on because we weren't supposed to go in this direction at all. I want to move on to the team that actually beat the Leafs in the playoffs, which was Florida. No, it's fine. It was good talk. Florida. I mean, what do you even say about Bill Zito at this point? They lost fucking nobody.
I
and
mean,
they signed
clearly
everybody.
there's something
Like,
there's
my
something
God,
great about
man.
the culture in Florida that makes every single player want to be there
Dude,
long term
it's-
and want to take.
Ekblad could have got $9 million on the open market. We
Easy.
know what Marchand could have
Sick to my
got in.
fucking
Like, it's
stomach to
just
see Florida Panthers success. Like these fuckers are
Yeah.
gonna three-peat.
they are, dude. I was thinking about it. They lost nothing. If anything, they might get a little bit healthier. Like the Chuck might rest for the
They
season.
might
like, for
they
about
might
Chuck for the
lose
season,
like Evan Rodriguez, and that's a maybe because I think they're
Yeah.
cap compliant.
No, I think they might have to lose Rodriguez. I think they're.
Oh, boo-hoo, they lose
that's quite
Evan
up there.
Rodriguez. Guess what? They just
No, but that's
signed
what- yeah,
Jack
I know.
Studnicka. He'll pull up and score
Yeah.
40 points. They just signed Jeff Petrie. He's gonna replace Nate Schmidt and
Nate
be
Schmidt,
like
yeah.
insane.
on
Like
the
they actually I'm actually like I'm gonna crash out because it pisses me off that they're like this good at this
Dude,
shit. I don't understand. It. I don't understand.
The only thing that's saving this league is a potential Bob regression year because he's getting older and he's played a lot of hockey.
They are.
But even then, they're so good that I don't know if it even
I
matters
have
that much.
never. I'm not kidding. I'm 100% serious when I say this. I have not hated a team more than I hate the Florida Panthers. They are like the dirtiest team with the least integrity,
Yeah.
and it's so much more. They are like they're just rage bait. That team is just rage bait with everything. Like they managed to make all these crazy signings, and it's like, why can't my team fucking do that? I mean, the Leafs
It's
kind of just did it, but
fine, I
they
don't
did it to
know.
just like a completely different magnitude. I'm like, it pisses me off so
They're
much. Like
they're a
it's
well
rage
run team.
inducing.
Like we can
That's
talk
what
about
sucks.
we can talk about the fucking what's it called, the state tax part of it all, but I think it has way more to do with the fact they just won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
They're just good. They're just good. Like
also,
dude, even with the state tax discount, like $6 million for Marchand and $6 million for Ekblad is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like they could have gotten 9 apiece.
I also don't think. I also don't think $8 million.
The Ekblad.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the Ekblad one was just crazy. Like that, he genuinely just took an insane discount.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, he did. He did, dude. I'm telling
the
you,
Marchand one makes a little more sense. Marchand just went way longer on the years than I think anybody was expecting.
Yeah, and
everybody was expecting like a 3 to 4 year deal at like 8 to 9 million. He went for
it was 6 by 6, right?
It was 5 point.
I think it was 5. It was 5.5.
5.25.
It was 5.
Oh, was it 5.25?
But he went, but like that's a 6-year deal. This guy's 37, right?
So that's
like,
good value for him.
Thank God the Leafs didn't give him a 6-year deal. But
well, you know what Florida's thinking? If this guy's not playing for 6 years, he's playing for maybe another 3 or 4, and he's done.
And I know,
which is it's smart, dude.
It's really smart. It's really good work for them. And I know he just won the Conn Smythe Trophy, but I really don't like Sam Bennett at $8 million. I don't know about that.
But you know what? I didn't like him at $8 million, but then they found a way to keep everybody, and it's fine again. It doesn't matter. Like they have.
I didn't like Sam Bennett on like the Leafs at $8 million. Sam Bennett at $8 million on the Florida Panthers with the exact same team is perfectly fine. Yeah, because again, he's in that.
Yeah, it's the same environment. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
That was my always thing, was that Sam Bennett is in like the absolute perfect scenario he could possibly be in with the Florida Panthers, and that's why he excels in that role.
Yeah, you're right. And I think
and now they're repeating it.
What the Panthers did with their players this offseason is what I was saying with the Leafs last offseason is you just take, and it's not even bets because I mean the Leafs took bets with Tanev and OEL, but you just lock in your guys and like just get the term to get the AAV down, and then they could win 3 more cups. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Just
the Florida Panthers,
and then you'll deal with the mess later.
The Florida Panthers are genuinely just 15 out of 10 rage bait. Like I can't do this shit. It's so sickening to see that they are so well run, like that they have just like this defined culture that every soul that steps into that locker room buys into. Like I'm convinced like the equipment managers are just going out and like elbowing random people in the head. Like it's to that point. Like everybody's bought into this like the culture there, and it pisses me off because they used to be a joke of an organization, and the league was better that way. The league was better that way when they were a joke.
One thing I will point out with the Panthers is we mentioned their cap situation. They're currently they're 2.95 over the limit. Evan Rodriguez makes 3, so that fixes that pretty easily. But Mackie Samoskevich is currently an RFA, so I doubt they have room to re-sign him.
I don't know. You should. Yeah, I don't know what. That's an interesting situation. They probably just squeeze them into taking a really low offer and stay moves. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, there's not much more to say about Florida. I mean, it's just like incredible. But moving on, dude, what's happening? I don't know what's gonna happen with Robertson. It's kind of like a nothing situation.
Nick Robertson.
Oh, Nick. Jason Robertson stuff is done. I think like he's not getting traded. Like, yeah. Nick, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like he's an RFA. Like whatever. I feel like if you just offered like a really low deal, at least probably just match it at the end of the day. Like
I don't really care. Like I think he gets
getting traded.
I think there's 2.
I think he's gonna get. Sorry, you go, Jacob.
I just think there's 2 outcomes for Nick Robertson, and it's rather he gets buried on the 4th line in Toronto, or he gets traded somewhere else or offer sheeted or something like that. He plays somewhere else.
What I was gonna say is I think he's gonna get packaged in a deal for whatever forward they get, because I think him on his own it probably isn't much value, but I think packaged with something else it is valuable, because that is a decent bet you can take on a guy. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. He's still young. I don't really know what the value is for him. I don't think
we saw this year. I think the fit just wasn't. It wasn't there.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the New York Rangers. They had a really interesting day. They signed Gavrikov to a 7x7 or 7x7, sorry, and I think everyone thought that deal was coming a little bit more expensive than it actually ended up coming in at.
It's not a bad. Honestly, like he was like a top 5 defensive defenseman this year. I'm a big fan of that deal for them.
I was hating on it when it first got
Yeah,
signed. But honestly,
was,
like the more I think about it,
yeah,
over the length of 7 years,
dude, look at like when Nick Hague and Kevin Ball got, and you're getting
The cap is exploding, and like Gavrikov had an amazing year. Like it's honestly
the only thing the only thing that I'd be nervous about is the 7 years, because he's already 29, so you're gonna get him like pretty late. But I mean, that's free agent deals for you. Like you kind of just have to eat it.
I think they just have bigger issues on that team, like Will Borgen making $4.1 million.
Holy shit!
Yeah. How like, oh my god.
And now they get rid of Keandre Miller, who like
I wanted to talk about the Rangers, because they're such a weird team for me, because I don't really know what they're doing too much. Like the Keandre Miller deal was fantastic. Like you got to haul for that guy.
They fleeced.
And I want to talk about Carolina, because everyone talked about how great Carolina set themselves up for the offseason, but they set themselves up for the weakest free agent class possible. And also one other thing. Well, they set themselves up for the weakest free agent class possible, but they gave themselves the most cap space. And they don't even have the excuse that Mitch didn't come to market, because he declined the trade to go to you anyways. So, like, what did you think was going to happen? You were going to get a room with him and you were going to figure out a way to lock him up to an 8-year deal? Like, no, he obviously didn't want to go there in the first place. And if he wanted to extend there, he probably would have just accepted the trade anyways.
Like, I'm not...
So, like, I don't...
I'm not...
Yeah, I don't know. They're perplexing like, right now. The Stankoven deal is... Stankoven deal I liked. It was a good bet, but like still I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't get it.
This team is just like, I'm looking at their forward core right now, just on Puckpedia, and like it sucks, dude. Like they...
Oh my god, they have 18 million in cap space.
Ahos, Svechnikov.
Dude, it's Ahos, Svechnikov, Jarvis, and just a bunch of people.
I mean, it's the league.
They're probably Ehlers. Like that it's probably Ehlers. I'm assuming that's where he's going.
Signing him, dude.
Honestly, like
they need.
And I'm not even a big Ehlers fan, but like
they need a center preferably. But like, I mean, I think anybody at this point works. Like
the league's in a tough position right now. I think because like a couple reporters have been saying, there's 31 teams that are trying to get better right now. And then there's also the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Penguins.
Yeah. And whatever Buffalo's doing.
Yeah. There's 30 teams that are trying to improve this offseason. and everyone's got cap space, but there's no one to sign. It's a crazy situation. I think there's gonna be some stupid trades.
And it's it's the complete opposite of what we've seen in the past with the flat cap, where you have guys on the market that are like pretty solid, but like no one has a salary to do it. Dude. So everyone signs, the second free agent opens, and then you see what happens with Taylor Hall. If you wait a little bit, guess what? You're in Buffalo.
Remember Sonny Milano? That was like a guy. He had like a 40-point pace the season prior, right?
Sorry, that's just so funny. You waited too long. Guess what, buddy? You're headed to Buffalo.
Get the Buffalo right now. And Terry Pegula is like, we're winning the cup.
We're not talking about playoffs. We're talking about
he was. We're not talking
playoffs.
about.
We're talking about
I will give the rest of my box of corn pops to whoever can tell me how many goals Taylor Hall scored as a Buffalo Sabre.
4.
It's 2. It's 2.
Oh no, 4.
I believe it's 2.
Yeah. No, I was right. It was 2. Dude, I was talking to one of my buddies at work who is a Sabres fan. He's like, yeah, 2 goals. That guy had breakaways every other game. And he had 2 goals.
Thank God he's found a home in Carolina. Good for him.
2 goals in 37 games as a Sabre. 8 goals in 16 games as a Bruin that same season.
He actually wasn't bad as a Bruin, dude. Like, he was fine. Like,
they moved.
Like, near the end, he wasn't good, but when he first got
remember
there,
he went to
solid.
Chicago, and we thought he was going to be like the guy with Bedard.
What was it? Hall, Krejci,
dude?
was that line?
Didn't they only get like the second? Didn't they only get like the second for Taylor Hall to Buffalo? Like, I don't even think they got a first.
They got
They dumped Foligno. They dumped Foligno. They dumped Foligno and Hall to the Blackhawks in one deal.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay.
Do we want to get back to the Rangers?
The Rangers. I don't know. There's not. I just want to talk about them because it's like.
Yeah, I don't know. They're confusing.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, can hear you. Can you hear us?
He died.
Oh no. Oh no, he was just looking at his phone. He's doom scrolling.
Sorry, no, dude. I don't know why, but my headphones are also connected to my phone. Oh my god. Oh, thank you.
Lock in.
My headphones are connected to my phone as well. For some reason, I don't know why. So I just lost all audio for a second.
Yeah, no, the Keandre Miller trade for them was awesome. I think for the Rangers, Scott Morrow is a really good prospect. He's going to be pretty good. I think he'll be just as good as Miller. Although Miller this season really struggled, and I think Carolina definitely overpaid him. I don't know what data they have on him that's like propping him up, but even like most public stats this year were not very fond of him.
I gotta point this out every single time we talk about the 2025 New York Rangers. Like everyone's stats look bad, advanced stats, and also
I get it,
but,
dude.
like,
But when you get a guy like that, it's like, oh, we're taking a 2-year flyer on him.
you're
Like,
like,
oh,
you're
like
right.
you just signed
it's
him
an
for
overpay.
8
And they
years,
also
and you
gave-
spent
they-
a first, a second,
and
and
a good
yeah.
prospect.
Like,
Like
I'm with
this
you,
is
yeah.
like it's not a nothing prospect. They gave up a good Scott
Yeah.
Morrow's a good
Yeah,
prospect, and he's right-handed. Like
oh, is he really? Fuck.
gave up a right-handed defensive
No,
prospect.
I'm on the same page as you guys.
First and a second.
The trade was an overpay.
a
The contract is an
boost.
overpay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out the other side of it, and the other side of it is also that Carolina is where defensemen go to shine. So we'll see. Like I think it's got potential
Listen,
to turn out good for them. I still think they're going to lose that trade no matter what.
there's probably a middle ground between what we've seen as a career high for him and what he was this year. Like, I doubt he's that bad, and maybe he can't get
Oh
back
my
to the career.
God.
But even at his career, like,
Seb, you good?
what?
Keandre Miller is the highest paid defenseman on the
Don't
Carolina
fucking
Hurricanes.
say that when it's July 2nd. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say like there was a big trade that just broke. Like, chill.
Dude, Jacob Slavin
It's like
makes
Ehlers to Toronto for a second, and I just didn't see it on my phone.
Jacob Slavin makes $6.9 million, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Your reaction.
I know the cap's going up. It's just like, dude, you locked him up for so long and he struggled so hard. That is just I don't know. I don't really understand what the thought process was there. But for New York, I think they've done well, but I still don't really know what they're doing. Like,
there is a
New York
very
is one of those
odd-
teams where it's like,
Very odd direction.
Yeah.
It seems like they're just kind of putting players on the roster and just being like, yeah, fuck it. Let's see if this works.
we'll see if this
Like,
works.
they went
yeah.
and signed Taylor Radish today.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, yeah, go ahead, man. I don't
Like
know.
Taylor,
Like,
I mean, like, he's a good fourth liner, but like I feel just so many other like spots they need to fill.
Again, like, dude, I
that
keep
decor
I keep
is
looking
awful.
at Will Borgen and Carson Soucy on this decor, and I'm like, what are you doing? What inspired
Yeah.
you to get those two players and be like, this is it, this is the dagger?
Obviously, you're hoping for a Fox bounce back, and obviously Gavrikov is a nice ad. And I'm missing one
Will
more.
Borgen
Who's
makes
the other
4.1
guy?
Dude, I'm telling you right now, Will Borgen, like his agent and Chris Drury were talking, and Chris Drury presented that contract, and Will Borgen's agent pulled up his phone in the room and was like, "Yo, you're signing this shit." Like in front of Drury, he's just like, "You're signing this
I
shit."
don't know if there's another guy.
Right?
too.
Like with trade protection,
Am I
by
not-
the way.
Will Borgen.
So there's only 5 defensemen though.
Oh.
No, isn't it? Isn't it Fox,
Oh,
Borgen,
you're talking about defensemen.
Soucy,
Brandon Schneider,
Gavrikov?
Jurek Vakanainen.
No,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
dude,
Schneider,
Will
I forgot about
Borgen,
Schneider.
Will
Schneider's
Borgen has
sick.
trade protection, bro.
I mean, everyone has trade
He has a
protection. in
no
NHL.
trade
like, this
clause.
Is nothing new. Like,
He has a
Oh
only-
shit!
only
didn't know he
this
had a
year.
full no
This year it's a
trade.
no trade
Rest
clause,
of
and
the
then the
contract.
next 3 years it's a 15.
That's a long
But
contract.
still,
He
like,
signed till
God.
2030.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think.
Moving on from New York-
I was just gonna
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
finishing
Jacob.
up on the Rangers. Like, I still think the JT Miller trade is a little shocking. Like, I think it was good value for them in terms of what they actually.
It's
traded.
just a weird spot, dude. He's
it's the
32.
contract, man. He signed for $8 million until 2030 with with a no movement clause.
It's that, but
I just wonder, like, I just think, I don't know if the Rangers are one of those teams where it's like we have to wait for the rest of the offseason to see what they're
I think that's
actually
the
trying
case
to
for a
do.
lot of teams right
because
now.
this team feels so incomplete. Like, like Seb said, listen, it's just a roster of players, and there's no real fit
Justin
or
Dowling,
scheme
bro.
or just.
Justin Dowling.
So yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what they're going for here, but I just will have to wait and see.
I think my biggest thing with them is just like I can't tell if they want to get younger or if they want to compete now, because they go and make the JT Miller trade, but then they go and make the Keandre Miller trade and get like a prospect back, and it's just
It
like
kind of
they
feels like they're
keep-
trying to do the retool and the fly thing that Washington did, but I don't
But
think they're
they're-
doing
but
it
they're-
anywhere as close as well.
Yeah,
as they did.
it's not even that. It's just they're not. I can understand if that's what they want to do, but they're not doing it. Like,
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah,
They're not
I don't really
doing
understand what they're
it.
doing either.
Like Washington,
They're in dangerous territory of being just not good enough for the playoffs and too good to get a top
the
pick.
thing,
And a draft where Gavin McKenna is going to be the first overall pick, and
the
he's
thing with
supposed to be unbelievable.
the thing with Washington is that they weren't dumping guys for like picks
No.
and prospects.
They were taking bets. They were taking bets on guys like
Yeah, like
we'll
they
move
got,
our
they did the
terrible
Dubois
goalie
trade.
contract for Dubois. Yeah.
They
So I don't
picked
know.
up on Jacob Chikrin at low value. They got like
Yeah.
Mangiapane.
That chicken
They,
trade was
like,
so good.
very good. I'm very sad the Leafs weren't in on that, but I guess it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if Ottawa would have traded him to us, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
But no,
Um,
it's very odd. I don't know.
We are running pretty late, and I have work tomorrow, so I do want to. We'll pick. So what I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of already talked about Carolina, so we'll.
Let's do the Kings.
I'm trying to decide if we want to talk about.
Let's do the Kings.
You want to do the Kings?
Oh, let's shit
The
on
Kings were
the
entertaining.
Kings for like 10 minutes, please.
Okay. Oh yeah, sounds good. I mean, listen, honestly, they got better. I just don't know about the value of the contracts. Like, I don't think that the contracts were that great. But like, if you look at the roster on paper now, it's better than it was before.
Like
I don't know.
Gavrikov's a pretty big loss for them. I don't
Marginally.
hate what they did. I just hate, like you
Yeah.
said, Mateo, I just hate the contracts. Like, their decor is so like it's just
They like.
what
I would
oh,
say they
man, I don't even know what
marginally
to
got
say.
better. I really don't. I don't,
I don't
see
think
how
they got
this
better.
team is like. Dude, they lose Gavrikov. You get like.
I don't think it got worse. Like, I know Gavrikov is tough.
They
but
get Dumoulin and Cece. Like Cece's fine, I think. Like he's pretty solid.
I
But
like
Dumoulin
Corey
at that
Perry.
price point was just like. But the thing about Corey Perry and like Joel Armia, like those are fourth liners. Are they really going to impact your lineup that
Yeah.
much? Like this is still the exact same top 9 that they had last season.
yeah.
I just don't.
I don't disagree with that. I honestly, I don't want this to be a cop out for every team, because I think some teams just won't end up doing anything, and they're just going to go into the season with this roster. But free agency is so shit that we just have to wait for the like. It's hard to evaluate any team that's trying to contend right now, because there's no one on the market right now that was worth
But dude,
splashing
they're
cash
set.
on. So like, well, you don't know
they're
if there's a
dude, they're
trade coming.
100%.
Apparently,
Look
Ken
at-
Hall.
Let me tell you this decor real quick.
But Ken Holland is like on a 2-year contract where it's like go win a cup,
But,
and
okay.
so I think he might just try to swing a
The
big
only
trade.
the
Eventually.
only trade I could see happening is they move Brant Clark for some other right-handed defenseman.
Yeah.
Maybe that's better now. But besides that, like they have Mikey Anderson, he's staying. They have Drew Doughty, he's staying. Are they gonna move off of Joel Edmondson? They just signed him and seem to like him.
Maybe they
There's Brant Clark, who I just mentioned, and then they just signed Dumoulin and Cece.
maybe they move off of
Who are they?
forward.
They already moved off of Jordan Spence. Like who else are they gonna move off of this decor?
They could move off a forward to
question.
add on
I mean-
defense. Like
But then
That's
you're
what I was
pushing out a
thinking.
guy that either Brant Clark or a guy that like you freshly signed to like a $4 million contract.
yeah, like Joel Edmondson makes no sense at 3.8 million. He's not a guy that should be playing every night.
That was a bad trade. That was a bad contract.
the
the second
start,
they
yeah.
signed it.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm
understand
just
that.
looking at this. The only really expendable guy on this roster is Brant Clark, and that's the one name they shouldn't be moving off of.
I wouldn't call him expendable.
This
They shouldn't be moving off of him. This should be the
They
future of
think
their
he is.
decor. Like
That's what I'm saying.
Drew Doughty's riding off into the sunset, man. That guy's only getting older. He's what, 35 now?
Yeah, 35 with 2 years left on his $11
I
million
read it.
deal.
Dude, like Doughty's not gonna be there for much longer. Like Brant Clark should be the future of this decor, and they just seem to not like him, and it's frustrating. I really don't know what they do with this lineup, dude. Like the top 9 is set. I don't know who they move off this top 9 and get better.
They give the Leafs Quentin Byfield for Easton
my
Cowan.
Puckpedia is bugging. Do they have their first round pick this year?
They might. I don't know. Probably.
answer.
I don't. They haven't made any. They haven't made any big trades.
Where do I find that?
I mean,
Oh no, they traded away their first round pick, but they own the Edmonton first
How
round
did
do
pick.
they
did
move
that.
off of like? Do they move off of Philip Deneau? Like
That could be an option. I think someone would take them.
Leaf?
Who
No.
they
Leaf?
acquire? Oh wait, this is dude. I'm so stupid. This is the 2025.
Oh, what the hell?
This is all fucking Dubas trading up and down, dude.
No, who gives
Fuck
a
off.
Yeah, they own their own pick.
No, I'm looking. I'm trying to find if they have
They
a
own-
first round pick.
they
Yeah, they
own
own
the
their own pick.
2026
Okay.
one.
They have assets that like picks that they can move. You have a second round pick. You have 2 third round picks. You have a first round pick. Like there is space. They have cap space still. I know they were heavily in on Marner, but they do. They have like $6 million in cap right
6
now.
mil.
Maybe they
almost
should
on the
go
clock.
in on a
Yeah,
guy.
5.9.
They should maybe go in on a guy like Marco Rossi, low key.
I don't know.
Like move off of maybe
Rossi
like
would
a
be
Philip
good
Deneau or something.
if Raquel. Like, would you take Raquel?
Yeah.
On this roster, if they
Yeah.
move off of somebody, yeah, I just don't
Yeah.
know who they'd move. Like
Trevor Moore.
because now Kuzmenko,
Brian Russ would be another one.
Kuzmenko kind of rounds out this like top nine. Like I don't really know.
I don't
who-
know.
Like you don't really want to move off of Lafreniere. He's young.
Like I'm
Byfield.
honestly,
I don't know. Do you want to move on?
I'm looking at their forward group. I'm looking at the guys that they can move. Like I don't think Fiala is necessarily tied down.
Maybe not, but he's also like I'd say probably top 3 forward on this team. Like I'd probably go Kempe, Fiala, and then Byfield.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Kopitar's up there too.
Kopitar's getting older.
In his old age, he's still good though.
He's up there still on the Kings, but they are weird. This is a weird team.
It's a
Yeah.
Kenny Holland-ass roster.
Okay, moving on from LA because I don't think there's anything else. I don't want to touch Buffalo because I feel like I want to wait for the next pod because I think the Byron situation will sort itself out and we can
That's
kind of do like a whole
true.
overview of how they've
Yeah.
like kind of worked that out. Is there anyone else you guys really want to talk about? Like I have Edmonton there, but I think the whole thing with Edmonton is that like I don't know if they got
They just didn't really do
that much worse, but
Seb and
they
I
didn't
touched
do
on
too
them a
much,
little
and you
bit
have
while
that
you were
Connor
gone.
McDavid extension.
Did we talk about?
Okay,
Oh
yeah,
we
I
did,
mean-
yeah, they just didn't really get.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, I didn't expect them to do anything that crazy, to be honest with you. Like the Bouchard extension was there, which I thought was kind of crazy. Like they didn't really get a deal on the term or the money. Like
Yeah.
Bouchard kind of just like had his way in the negotiations. Like, I
Dude,
don't
like what
know.
the fuck is Nashville doing?
Oh my god, dude! No, we're not talking about Nashville. I'm sorry, we're not. I can't do it. I can't. What was that trade for?
The Nick
what?
Hague deal,
the
dude?
Lazan and Sis. What?
They traded a
What?
defenseman who's
No,
better
we-
than Nick Hague
dude,
for Nick Hague, and they
just
retain
handed-
half on
and
Sissons.
just handed them a center.
Yeah, they give them
Yeah.
Sissons and retain half on Sissons while giving them a defenseman that's better than Hague, and then sign Nick Hague to one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my life.
We aren't talking about the Nashville Predators until Barry.
I'm okay with that.
You are not Steve Dangle, bro.
You made him freeze.
Candidates on rage bait.
Anyways, how you doing, Seb? I haven't said anything in a while because I'm tired.
Oh, true. Dude, the fucking Preds are weird.
We're not. I stand with Mateo on this. We're not going in on Nashville.
defenseman. Fedor's. They got Eric Holla back.
Why? I don't know. Let's.
Jonathan March. Oh, Michael Bunting's still there.
I love Joseph Wool.
Joseph Wool.
Yeah. This is why I'm not in charge of this podcast because the second we're he left.
He's gone.
Do you want to just
Might
wrap
as well
this?
just end the
Yeah.
pod. I think we were wrapping anyways, so we can just
Yeah.
wrap.
Well, thanks guys. I'm just gonna.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit. Don't forget to hit like. We need a call to action. So, don't forget to hit like.
end of an
Don't forget to
hour and a half
subscribe.
Call to action, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe.
Hey,
ring
guy.
that notification bell.
Okay, let me get into
guys, it's
the mood for this real quick,
Markiplier.
right? Okay, I got you. All right, well, hold on. Hey guys, thanks for watching.
YouTuber corner.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to
Share it. Share it with your friends.
share it to everybody, all your friends and
If
family.
they like hockey and they like to listen to a couple
If they
doofuses
like
talk
hockey.
about it.
We'll catch you in the next one.
Jesus. We're not going out on that note. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll do another episode. Off season might be a little
Whenever
slow and
we do
grueling,
one.
so we'll see.
We should reach out to people we know and like maybe do like an episode on maybe like each team if we're starving for content.
I don't hate that idea.
Like short episodes, like 10, 15,
Yeah. Anyways,
20-minute
we can talk about
episodes.
this after we stop recording. See you guys.
Yes, we can. Goodbye.